Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
Another opportunity for us to hear and learn of the word of truth that is given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, to the saints watching in on the chat and in the video, to the saints scattered around the world that we don't even know about, and to who else? I ain't missing nobody, am I? But no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. Let's see. What we talked about last week? May Allah. What did we talk about last week? Oh, may Allah. What did we read? We read Matthew. No, we didn't. We read Luke. We read Luke 18, John 11. Y'all remember with John? Y'all remember the Pharisees trying to set up Yahushua? You remember they was looking at it like, man, look,
Kill him.
let me just put it to y'all this straight. Yeah, he rose a dude from the dead, right? The dude rose up from the dead. That was good. However, it's better for one person to die than the whole nation get taken. Remember, that was their mindset, right? Their mindset was like, man, listen, you might as well let this one guy die because we don't believe he the Messiah. So it'd be better off if he died than for everybody to think. Remember, when we say Messiah, we think king, right? So it's better for this one guy to die than for the whole nation to think he's our king. Than the real king, Romans, they come in and be like, who y'all make a king over y'all? No. We the Romans. We tell y'all who y'all king gonna be. And the Romans ain't gonna play that game and they gonna wipe them off the planet. And that's how our people was thinking. We was thinking like, man, no, we can't risk it. Not on him. Right? We can't risk it on him. So we read that. Then we also read chapter 18 and Luke chapter 18 and Luke chapter 17, which we talked a little bit about humility, right? And one way that we can kind of keep ourselves humble when it comes to the Most High God is we can always remind ourselves that we are unprofitable servants. What that mean? What does unprofitable mean? If you unprofitable, what that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like if I said, listen, you know what I'm saying? Jaden, do me a favor, right? Take this money, go do something with it, and bring me back double, right? Go double my money up, right? And then Jaden take my money and he bring me back the same amount of money that I gave him. Is he profitable to me? Nah. All he did is lost me darn time, right? So that's how we are to God. It's like we don't add anything to God. You know what I'm saying? If I tell Jaden, take my money, go double up my money, Jaden doubles up my money, but he pockets half of it and gives me back exactly what I started with. And do I get a profit? He got a profit though, didn't he? So that's how we are to the Most High God, right? We profit from what he tells us to do. If we do what he tells us to do, we end up getting the money. He ain't no better because of it. So it's important for us to see it that way. It's like, even though we doing all these things and sometimes we see it as suffering, because the world will cause us to suffer when we trying to be righteous. You know what I'm saying? We got to tell ourselves no to a whole bunch of stuff. It's like a whole bunch of stuff out there that's available to us. We feel like we can get it, but it's like, I got to tell myself no. I could go smooth off on your butt. I got to tell myself no. Right? All this stuff. And it's like, man, it would feel good to just, you know what I'm saying? Just let loose for a little bit. So that thing, it feel like suffering because even sometimes you're going to be righteous and some people going to lie on you. Listen, just today, I was just thinking how wild it is, right? They got a rap beef going on. Got Kendrick Lamar. Not really, but you know what I mean? So like, you got Kendrick Lamar and you got Drake. That boy Kendrick watched that boy. At the very beginning of it, though, J. Cole was the one. Now, who raps the best out of all three of them? Just rapping? J. Cole, right? However, J. Cole stepped out at the very beginning. He like, yo. I threw a little shot out there. But you know what? I want to take it back. I'm going to take it off of the streaming services. That ain't my game. I let these people hype me up to go against my brother, going against my man, and we not going to do that. That is telling yourself no, right? So when I look at that, I'm looking like, dang, man, I really wanted a rap battle. And then the rap battle happened and people start getting called pedophiles and woman beaters and all types of stuff. And I'll be like, I see why you step back, because don't nobody want to play them games and hurl all that stuff, right? So it's like, oh, who can't respect what J. Cole did? In my mind, I'm thinking, who can't respect what J. Cole did? Then he just dropped another song where he explains his whole thought process. You know what I'm saying? Said some fly stuff like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't about to have me going and get my brother. It's just the people that they trying to fill up their pockets. They about to have us going back and forth. And you know what? I wasn't worried about losing a battle. I was worried about losing a bro. I heard the voice. I heard the verse, and I'm looking like, oh, he killed that verse. Everybody gonna love this, right? I get online. These people talking like, oh, J. Cole, he trying to change history. They missed his whole message. Missed the whole message. Missed everything he talked about. And they look at him like he the coward. And look at him like he went about everything wrong, right? When that may have been the realest move that anybody has ever done in entertainment, period, right? But what happens is, even when you righteous and you doing the right thing, people will look at you and find a way to misunderstand it. Right? They're going to find a way to doubt you and find a way to make you out to be a hypocrite and make you out to, and that's suffering because you already trying hard to deny yourself and tell yourself, I can't do this and I can't do that. Then at the same time, people looking at you and they treating you as if you did the very thing that you said you can't do. They going to treat you and tell you in your mind, you're going to be like, man, I might as well did it. I might as well bust his darn head open, because even when I said, no, I ain't going to bust your darn head open, everybody looking at me like, man, but you wanted to. I was just in the barbershop with my man. Oh, barbershop, the Gerson dude in there. He in there talking. And he like, yeah. All y'all Crips in here, this, that, and the other. And he point to me. He looking like, oh, you a Crip too, ain't you? This, that, and the other. Where you from? And I'm like, that's a trigger. You can't say that. You can't say that. Don't ask me that. Like, what are you doing? So I have to sit in the chair and just be like, cut the hair. Everybody, because some people know where I'm from. So some people who know start saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? Tell them where you from. So I got to sit there because I know it's a trap. If I get up and I tell them, they're going to be like, man, you supposed to be a pastor.
I'm compelled to ask you who this dude was, even though
you supposed to be a pastor. You ain't supposed. It's a trap. But if I sit there, now I got to deal with me. I got to deal with my internal. I got to deal with I've never been asked where I'm from and not had nothing to say. Now I got to say, man, just finna cut my hair, man. Stop playing. So you didn't tell? You don't understand. It's not. That's right. That's what I told her. I said, I'm a son of the Most High God. I ain't into none of that stuff. And it worked for everybody else, right? But for me, it hurt. For me, I'm serious. For me, it hurt. My wife would tell you I came home a little, you know what I'm saying, perturbed at the whole situation. I still ain't over it. I still want to kind of go back in there like, let's do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do it again. Because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, you catch me on the wrong day. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that. You got to relax and you got to tell yourself no. But when they look at you and be like, man, you still want to. When my barber look at me who know me and know my change, when he look at me and be like, nah, you still. It's like, dang, but all this change and y'all still treat me like I'm the same guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at that part, it makes it hard, right? So our mindset got to be different. Our mindset got to be, I don't care what people think. And I don't care how I look if it means that I got to compromise myself with the Most High God. And the only way to do that is through humility. You have to remind yourself that I'm the one who benefits from sacrificing myself for God, not God. I ain't doing no God. I ain't doing God no darn favor. I'm doing myself a favor. You do that, you can keep yourself humble. Right? Let's talk about Matthew. It look like we at Matthew. What are we on today? Let's start at Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19. It feels like the chat is further away. Sabbath peace, everybody.
Okay.
Huh?
Matthew 19.
This is Matthew chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19, we're going to start at verse 1.
And it came to pass that when Yahushua had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee and came into the coast of Judah beyond Jordan.
Okay.
And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
So they answered the question. He said, is it lawful to put a man? What was they doing to him?
Tempting him.
They were tempting him. What does that mean? Tempting him.
Testing him.
They were testing him. They're trying to get him. They're trying to see if he is going to do something wrong or say something wrong, right? So they were tempting him. And they said, is it lawful to put away your wife for what?
For every cause?
For every cause. Right? Notice how Satan works, right? Hold we got there. Grab Genesis chapter 3. Grab Genesis chapter 3. Give me verse 4. Give me Genesis. Just give me verse 1. It's Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Watch what the book say. This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. You know she's using a pencil, right? Like you get lead poison.
All right, give me a second. 1 second. Almost there. Hold on. All right. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuah God had made. And he said unto
What
the
does
woman,
subtle mean?
Crafty.
You know what I'm saying? That boy was sneaky and he was crafty. In other words, he can kind of strategize and figure out how to get what he want out of a situation. Right? So he was more subtle than anything that God made at that point. Right? Let's see. Keep going. The air got turned on. It's a little warm, man.
And he said unto the woman,
no, it's cold.
Yea.
You said what?
And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Now look what he asked him. This subtle, crafty serpent said to Eve, did God say you can't have of every tree? Like there's no tree in the garden that you can have? But is that what God said?
Oh.
What did God say? Let's see. She gonna tell it. Go ahead.
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die.
He said, you can't have the tree, that one tree that's in the midst of the garden. That's what God said. But notice how Satan said, dang, did God say you can't have any other trees in the garden? Right? That little thing right there, like sometimes we miss like the subtle manipulation. Right? It's like subtle things like that position our minds to respond in a certain way. Right? We do it to each other a lot, right? A lot of people do it to each other. Like when I was a kid, like I'd get in trouble, right? And my mama say, you can't come outside. Guess what my friends say? Dang, your mama never let you come outside. I was just outside with you yesterday. That's not true. But because you exaggerated to that extent, now it make me feel worse about what's going on. Oh, dang, she don't ever let me go outside. Mama, you never let me. Boy, shut up. Bow. Now I get smacked in the darn face. Now, when my mama watch this, she gonna be like, no, I didn't do that. But I'm telling y'all she did. I'm telling y'all she did. She, bow. Boy, shut up. Bow. Smack me in the darn face. And that's how it go. Because I got hyped up by my friends to say she never let me outside, right? But in reality, you don't. So you will see that just recognizing your own life. Dang, things never go right for me. Things this, that, and the other. Because what happens is Satan exaggerates it, takes it to the worst place, and then it puts you in a position where you can't appropriately respond because you're not responding to reality at that point. You responding to some exaggerated idea, right? And so that's what happened here. He said, dang, you can't eat of every tree in the garden? And that's the same thing that the Pharisees did to Yahushua. Let's go back. So Yahushua, he comes to the outskirts of Judah, and all the people followed him, and the Pharisees came to tempt him. And they said, is it lawful to put your wife away for every cause? Like, but that's not what the law say. Right? We got grab we're gonna go back to Matthew chapter 19, but grab Deuteronomy chapter 24. Let's see the cause that we can put a wife away. It's important to understand this stuff because a lot of time, man, these people don't know nothing about no darn marriage. They get into these situations, and I was just talking to the brother yesterday. We were talking about, you know what I'm saying, how people we've been so conditioned in dysfunction, right? That a lot of these people would rather have a baby with somebody than get married with them. That sounds crazy, don't it? That's good. That means I'm raising you right. You know what I'm saying? That means I'm raising. That's all it means. Male, that sounds crazy, don't it? I'm just making sure. Yeah. Just say it so I can hear it. Okay, I'm raising you right. That's all. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure it sounds crazy. Watch your mouth. You trying to call me a deadbeat? He a hater. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he be hating on you like that. So listen. All of them be hating. So listen. We find ourselves in a situation where we've been conditioned to think that it's okay to have baby. Like, I would rather, co-parenting is a big thing. Y'all be hearing co-parenting. Probably the older people be hearing co-parenting all the time. Co-parent. That is an acceptable idea. And the reason why it's acceptable only is because we've been conditioned because we see it all the time. Right? We've seen it, right? I come from that situation. Most of our peers, most of our people, most of the people around our age come from that situation, right? And when you see it, then what you do is you say, oh, well, I'll look up to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson was co-parenting. Mrs. Smith, or I shouldn't say Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Who can I use? I need a regular last name. Mrs. Doubtfire. Give me a last name. Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones, she co-parented, and I look up to these people. Matter of fact, they're great people. They're cool. Got a little money, got a good job. So we look at it and we looking like things worked out. Right? But a lot of time, people is not telling you what's happening behind the scene. They're not telling you the dark sides of this stuff. Everybody just trying to make sure they living good. They not thinking about their bad times. They presenting their life the way they present it. But it's a lot of bad that come with that. It's a lot of dysfunction that come with that. And we get used to it. Right? We get used to that. And when we get used to it, it becomes normalized. So now the little knucklehead, the knuckle dragger, right? I'm a boy, right? So he walk around, he say, nah, man, I ain't never getting married. Why he ain't never getting married? I ain't never getting married. You know what? Why I'm gonna do that? Why? So we can get divorced and she can take all my money? It costs a lot, you know, she can take all my money. First of all, you broke, right? First of all, you ain't got no darn money. That's one. Then the second of all, what you think happened when she put you on child support? It's gonna happen every single time, right? Like, there's no getting around it. When you break the law of the Most High God, the consequence gonna come. So if you focus your mind on saying, you know what, let me be with somebody I'm gonna be with for real before I lay down with them, before I sit down and try to have a baby with them, let me make sure I'm gonna be with somebody for real. What happened? I'm gonna be with somebody for real and make sure I like really can commit myself to this person. And notice I say commit myself to this person and not love, right? Because love is what? What is love? It can be a feeling, right? Real love is commitment. That's what real love is. But when we think of love, a lot of times we think of a love, it's just an emotional feeling. It's that little like, ooh, I got tingles in my stomach. I love her. You know what I'm saying? But that thing go away. You just saw when my wife stopped loving me for a little bit, and the feeling, I was like, but I thought we had something special. Right? That thing go up and down. It's like up and down. So what take you through it all, what give you stability is commitment. If you don't have that commitment for somebody, and you find yourself having a baby with him, you are dealing with the very thing you were scared to commit to for the rest of your life. That very thing that you was like, man, I don't want to be tied to her for the rest of my life. I don't want to be tied to him for the rest of my life. Then you have a baby and it's like, oh, I'm tied to him for the rest of my life. But now in a way that is dysfunction, right? So the book gave us one way to separate ourselves from marriage, right? One way and only one way. And the reason why it gives us one way or only one way, Yahushua gonna tell us, but it's because the Most High God made us one. He made the man and the woman who are married, he made them one so that they would not be separated, right? So he only gave one condition for that separation. Let's hear about it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. I can't tell if I lose you if you ain't on camera.
I got you, bro. My bad.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement.
Right. So the only reason that a man can write a bill of divorcement is if he found uncleanness in her. Uncleanness is talking about fornication. Right. So that means that she laid down with another man before they got married. Right. So if he thought he was getting a virgin and it turns out, oh no, she really ain't a virgin, that was the only grounds for us to divorce a woman. Other than that, we got to stay reconciled to her. Right. So now when we know that backstory based off of her law, let's go back to Matthew 19 and let's see how the Pharisees asked this question. Right. Just like Satan did in Genesis. He said, Most High God said, you can have any tree in the garden. You just can't have the tree that's in the midst of the garden. And then serpent came along. He said, God tell you, you can't have any tree that's in the garden. And he tried to exaggerate it, right? So in the same way, the Pharisees came to Yahushua. The law told us we can't divorce a woman for any reason. Only one is fornication, right? Uncleanness is how it said it in the law, right? And then the Pharisee came to him and was like, dang, you can divorce a woman for any reason, right? So it's that whole exaggeration situation that Yahushua about to deal with. Watch how he deal with it, just like Eve did. Gonna correct him. It's Matthew chapter 19, verse 1, or verse 2, wherever we left off.
My bad. I was on mute. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh.
Right? So them two shall be one flesh. Right? So that's how he designed marriage. That's how he set it up. He set it up that you would not be split apart, no matter what's going on. That you will stick through that thing, figure it out. If that's your mindset, right? If you thought, if I get married to this person, I can't split apart. And if you thought, I can't have no babies until I get married to that person. If those two things were fact to you, you would be mighty careful about who you marry. Right? You would take your time, you would pay attention, you would figure it out, and then you would say, you know what? Okay, this is the person I'm supposed to be with. I can deal with this. And then now you could be committed and you can walk your way all the way through it and you could do it, right? You would also know that once you in that marriage, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this work. Because you know that there's no other options. That's the only option I got. So you focus on that and you do it. Our problem with our people is we don't have our law. Our people don't have our law. So now marriage is an optional thing. And even when you in it, it's like, whatever, I'll divorce you for any reason. Right. And so then people are ready to split. They treat it like boyfriend and girlfriend or just a friend relationship or this, that, and other, because it doesn't have commitment. And again, that's the difference between real love and just the feeling love. Real love is a commitment. You've made a decision. It's a mental decision. Ain't got nothing to do with how you feel. It's a mental decision, like through thick, what's it, thick or thin? Thick or thin? Thin or thick?
Thick and thin, man.
Thin or thick or thin? Thick or thin?
Thick and thin.
Big or small. You know what I'm saying? No matter what size. You know what I'm saying? We rocking through this thing. Right? And if that's your mindset, then it'll work out. If two people got that mindset, no matter what, we gonna figure this out, oh, that's going to be the simplest marriage you ever had. It's going to be the easiest thing. It's going to be the best life in the world. What happens if it was that easy for everybody, trust me, everybody would be happy. It's not. What happens is I'm going to feel that way when Tasha don't feel that way. And then Tasha going to feel that way when I don't feel that way. And we got to carry each other in our weak moments, right? Tasha going to be like, you know what? I'm done. This is how she sounds. I'm done. And I'll be like, please don't go. You know what I'm saying? And then she'll come back and we committed, we figure it out, right? We work it out. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I was just playing when I was saying that about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we ain't gonna do that no more. I'll pick up the phone, I'll answer. I won't have Mel tell you that I'm not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We'll figure the thing out. You know what I'm saying? But then there's gonna be moments she felt like, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other, like, no, come back. No, don't do that. Don't leave me. This, that, and the other. And we carry each other through the tough moments, right? But you have to be willing to bear it all. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to bear it all, because otherwise it won't work. But that's what Yah mean when he says the two become one flesh, right? You have this mindset where you're not just thinking about you thinking about the collective, you thinking about your wife, and nothing come before that. For a man, nothing can come before that, right? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put your wife before everything. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's like God and it's your wife. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I really, really love my kids. Okay, I feel you. But forget them darn kids when it comes to my darn wife. Yes. Every one of them. And I love my baby girl now. Don't get me wrong. But every one of them, when it comes to my wife, forget these darn kids. Somebody better figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to take care of my wife first. Then after that, then my kids. You know what I'm saying? But that's the order of the household. That's how you supposed to, that's how you have to keep that thing in. Otherwise, these kids will come between anything. Kids will come between you and God. Kids will come between you and your wife, you and your spouse. Kids will come between you and your job. Kids will come between these raggedy darn kids. Anybody about to sit here and play with these darn kids? What's wrong with y'all? Right? Kids got to fall in darn line. That's how it go. Right? Everything else. Kid, when you a kid, you don't understand. Like, you don't see it. Well, I was just telling Mel, being a kid is like being, what example I use? Did I use the? Yeah. It's like being in the dark on a boat in the ocean, and you think you know exactly where you're going. You think in your mind, waves is hitting you. You like, no, I just got to keep going that way. But it's dark. You can't really see. Nope. I know I'm headed to the right direction. I'm almost there in your mind. And then as you get older, the light just get a little brighter, and you start realizing, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm going. And so you have to problem solve. You have to say, okay, I need an anchor, and I need a sail, and I need this. And you start to learn how to navigate, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more. But when you a kid, it's dark. And in your mind, you know exactly where you're going. I'm going north right now for sure. You know what I'm saying? That thing, your butt going darn southwest. You know what I'm saying? Your butt, I'm definitely going north. You know what I'm saying? That's how it look, because you're a darn kid. You know what I'm saying? So you can't base an adult can't base nothing off a kid. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because they just gonna throw your whole darn life at. And the problem is some of our adults are still kids, right? In our minds, right? We adults and we still kids. So we gotta learn stuff on the fly. We still figuring out how to navigate. And you throw that whole thing into a pot, you just got a messed up, dysfunctional situation. And we gotta learn how to work through that dysfunction. But that's where we are as a people, in dysfunction, where it's okay. Like, no, she ain't gonna take all my money in marriage, so I'm gonna let her take it in child support. Stupid idiot. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Saying silly stuff, but they stand on this stuff. Women too. Women be saying the same thing. Like, don't please. I want a baby. I just go get me a baby, but I ain't gonna. They to the point they go artificially do the thing at the doctor to get a baby. Some of these women. I would explain it to you. You know what I'm saying? But you go to a doctor and they put a baby inside of you without you having to be with nobody. You know what I mean? And so some of these women that got money, they'll go get a baby just because they want a baby so bad. But the natural desire for a woman is to have a baby from a man. And so now you just have to work through these things. But because dysfunction carries our world so much, we have options that should not ever really be options to us. You know what I'm saying? So Yahushua, when the Pharisees is trying to exaggerate, say, is everything a reason to divorce your wife? He tried to correct them. Was like, no. The two will be one flesh. In other words, they together forever. Right? Keep going.
Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away?
So now Yahushua is about to explain the law for us. Give us an answer, Yahushua.
He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery. And whosoever...
Right? So you do that. If I sit here and I say, you know what, it's over, and I divorce my wife, and then I go try to get me another one, guess what I'm doing? Adultery. You treat, I don't care what you said, you cheating on that girl. That's still your wife. I don't care what you signed. I don't care what court you went to. I don't care what judge, you cheating on that girl. That's still your wife. And if she go and try to get her another one, first of all, you better watch your darn back. You know what I'm saying? You better watch your darn back. I'm in a very uncomfortable place right now, but better relax. She cheating on me. That's still my wife. That's how God see it. Right? The world gonna tell you, listen, they got something called divorce parties now. These people are crazy. These people are nuts. Right? They got something called divorce party. With these women, I ain't seen the dude do it yet. But these women, they'll get divorced and they friends come together, throw them a whole little party, this, that, and other about them being divorced. They do some wild stuff at the party, have a lot of fun, right? And in their mind, they thinking, oh, it's over. Dysfunction. All that is dysfunction. Our law tells us, I don't care how your friends see it. I don't care how happy they are for you. You need to sit your little hot butt down, right? You sit your butt down. I don't care. Listen, if you got, some of these men is crazy. Some of these men have put their hands on women. It's the dirtiest thing a man can do, by the way, right? The dirtiest thing. Top thing, not taking care of your kids. But right underneath that, putting your hands on a woman. Nah, I second. The book say a man who don't take care of his kids is worse than an infidel. You know what I'm saying? That's an unfaithful person. You know what I'm saying? A person going to hell. So he's worse than a person going to hell, right? So I would say the second thing is putting your hands on a woman. The problem is some of the people that do that is both. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't take care of their kid and they put their hands on. You know what I'm saying? So that's dirty. Boys, y'all know, all y'all protect any woman that's around you. That's it. That's our job. That's it. That's the value of a man, right? So when you do this, right? You got these dudes, right? They got these warped mindsets. And sometimes these women are not crazy when they say, I want a divorce. They not wanting a divorce just because I don't like you anymore. No, they like, no, you're dangerous and you're unhealthy for me and you got me in a negative situation, right? Let's understand, you ain't got to stay in no house with somebody that's abusing you. But sit your little hot butt down, right? Pray for him. You do it, or don't pray for him. Pray that he die, right? Because that's another way to get out your marriage. If he died, pray that he died quietly, though, not out loud. Do whatever you're gonna do, but sit your hot butt down and be reconciled to him, right? That's your only option. If you know that, you think better when you're going into it at the beginning. We have to know that, right? You think better because you ain't gonna make no frivolous decision. You're not just gonna jump into something just because you're doing it. You gotta take your time and think about these things. Is this what I want to do? Am I willing to commit to it? If you are, then you move forward, right? So he said, listen, if she go out and go get another one, or if you go out and go get one, man, that's it, right? Keep going. Watch this.
Whosoever marries her which is put away does commit adultery. His disciples say unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry.
Right? So look, the Pharisees ain't crazy. They looking like, that's the case. No, I ain't about to get married. This where it started.
His disciples said that.
Oh, it's my fault. The disciple looking like, if you told the Pharisees that, they're like, man, listen, man, who going to get married under them conditions? I can't never put her, no matter what she do, I got to stick with her. That's exactly the mindset that we got today. We looking at it like, no, that's crazy. You know, I ain't about to tie myself down. No, we good, right? And watch what Yahushua say.
But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which were born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there are some eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it.
What's a eunuch? Who know what a eunuch is? Yeah. When you see eunuch in the book, eunuch is referring to somebody who, a man, right? A man. It's like It's a male virgin, right? It's a male that doesn't have sex, right? So when you talk about a eunuch, this eunuch is the word means like kept. It's like the bed is kept. In other words, like it's like saying I'm the only person in my bed. So in other words, I ain't bringing nobody in my bed, right? So the word eunuch means the bed is kept or something like that, something to that effect. So what it's saying is there's a couple ways that you could be a eunuch as a man, right? As a man, you can be born as a eunuch. That means that you born and not all your parts work properly, right? And then there's another way you can be a eunuch. You can decide to be, right? You could be a eunuch because of your job, right? You could be a eunuch because of, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people got, interesting, what I'm saying, little goals that they got for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You could just decide, I want to be a eunuch for whatever reason. But then he said there's a third way to be a eunuch. You could be a eunuch for the kingdom's sake, right? So what he's saying is his disciples said, man, look, this is a hard saying. You mean to tell me we can't divorce her for no reason? Like, that's it? Well, once we get married, and if she was what we expected, we get married, we stuck in that situation, that's it? And it's better not even get married. So Yahushua turned off and like, well, yeah, it is better if you become a eunuch for the kingdom. So if that's your mindset, right? It's a reason why he responded with that. If your mindset is, man, it's better not even to get married, then don't go have no babies. Be a eunuch for the kingdom. Sit by your darn self. It's okay. It's okay. You ain't gotta have no, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta mess with nobody. You ain't gotta do none of that. Just focus on the Most High God if that's your mindset. Right? And either one or two things gonna happen. Your mindset one day is gonna change when you meet somebody that's appropriate for you, or your mindset won't change and you'll be great in the kingdom. Right? But that is an option. Don't let nobody make you believe you gotta get married at this point in your life or this, that, and that. You don't have to do nothing. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you think it through every decision that you making and make sure you make the right decision so it don't make your life harder in the end. Right? Keep going. Let's see what else we got. Yahushua trying to teach y'all something.
Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked him. But Yahushua said, suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven.
All right, keep going.
And departed from there. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing should I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest me thou good? There is
right. So he said, Why callest me thou good? In other words, why are you calling me good? Because he walked up to him, the man, he walked up to him and was like, hey, good master, what do I have to do to get into the kingdom? What commandments specifically do I have to keep to get into the kingdom? And so Yahushua's first response was, why are you calling me a good master? Like, why are you calling me good? He wants to know if he knows why to call him good, right? What else he say?
That is God. There is one good. There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments.
Right? So he says, if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. That was his answer. He says, look, how do I get into the kingdom? His answer was, keep the commandments. Now the boy gonna come back and watch what he said.
And he said unto him, which? Yahushua said, thou shalt not do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
He gave him 6 commandments, right? What didn't he mention?
Keep the Sabbath.
He didn't mention the Sabbath one time, did he? Right? There's a reason for that. A lot of people look at that and be like, they're going to tell you and be like, well, he didn't mention the Sabbath because, I mean, he talking to all Jews. He talking to all Hebrews. Of course, they know to keep the Sabbath. You ain't got to remind them about to keep the Sabbath. And I always laugh when people respond that way. It's like, oh, that make a lot of sense because you do got to remind them not to murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, they forgot about that. Like, that's just happenstance. I might just kill somebody like, oh, committing adultery. That's not well known amongst Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's ridiculous, right? Almost all of those, 5 out of 6 of those commandments that he gave us was the 10 commandments, which has to be the most popular commandments for anybody of the Hebrew and Israelite nation, right? So it's like, no, we're very familiar with all those commandments. It has nothing to do with that. These are the commandments that Yahushua chose intentionally to tell us about. And it's consistent with what he told us before. Go back to this is Mark chapter 7. Mark chapter 7, verse was it 21, 20? This is Mark chapter 7, verse, let's say 20.
All right, 1 second.
This is Mark chapter 7, verse 20. Watch what the book say.
And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from
Look, this is
within,
the stuff that defiles you, right? Keep going.
for from within out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man.
Did he mention Sabbath? Did he mention the feast days? Right? He didn't mention none of that stuff. He mentioned what he mentioned. He intentionally is mentioning these things in multiple places throughout the scripture. Right? So it's the same theme of stuff. And then he also included love your neighbor as yourself. So it's some people that tell you, yeah, so basically what Yahushua was telling you is keep the 10 commandments. That's not what he said. Stop that line. Right? Because he gave you 5 of the 10 commandments, and then he gave you one that's not in the 10 commandments. It's in Leviticus. Right? What he's telling you is repent for them things that defile you in the kingdom. And he's telling you the things that defile you from the kingdom. So he's telling you exactly which commandments to turn away from, or which commandments rather to keep, and what sins to turn away from if you want to enter into the kingdom. Let's go back. This is Matthew chapter 19. What verse?
19.
This is Matthew chapter 19, verse 19. Right? So he's trying to explain to the young man, he's like, listen, this is what you need to do to enter into the kingdom. He said, which command? He said, keep the commandment. He said, which commandments? Oh man, look, don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal. You know what I'm saying? Love your neighbor as yourself, honor your mother and your father. I'm missing one. Covetousness, maybe. You know what I'm saying? And then he told him, okay, well, watch what he say next. It's Matthew chapter 19, verse 19.
Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man said unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? And Yahushua said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me.
And watch what the young man did.
But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
That boy had a lot of money. He had a lot of stuff. He is like, dang, you want me to sell everything I got and give it to the poor? So he went sad, like, dang, I don't know if I could do that one. Right? But notice what Yahushua said, right? Go back.
If thou wilt be perfect.
He said, if thou will be perfect. He already told him what to do to enter into the kingdom. But the young man wanted to know, how do I do even better than that? He asked him, what more? Right? So in other words, how do I do even better than that? Okay, I'm in the kingdom. How do I reach the top is what he was asking. Right? And so Yahushua responded to him like, okay, you want to reach the top? Sell everything you got.
Yeah, so with this story here, a lot of I heard a couple Christian pastors preach on it. They made it seem like the young man was like was evil, or he wouldn't get into the kingdom or whatever like that. Like the young man wasn't real about saying that he kept all of the commandments, right? I think in Luke or in another place it says Yahushua looked at him and loved him. So when the scriptures say that, then you know this young man, he was really a commandment keeper. He was really like somebody that was like searching for righteousness. It wasn't that he wasn't willing to be righteous. It's just that the perfect part was tough to him. So they paint this usually the Christian pastors I heard paint this young man like he wasn't really wasn't really about doing the right thing.
Right. We got a question in the chat. The question in the chat are the other commandments done away with? Right. And we can get that answer. We don't have to get it right now, but if we went to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, it's going to tell us that nothing of the law is going to be abolished or done away with until heaven and earth pass away. Right. So none of the commandments are done away with. All the commandments stand 100%. for what the commandments are commanded for, right? But Yahushua is coming with a new covenant and a new set of commandments. So he's giving us new terms. And those new terms are separate and on top of the law, right? So as long as somebody is in the law, in the land, then you have to obey the law of Israel, right? The law that was given to Moses, right? But once you step outside of that land, if you want to enter into the kingdom, you might go to a different land and be like, well, I'm not in Israel no more, so I don't have to keep the law. Do whatever you want to do. But if you want to get into the kingdom, I don't care where you are. I don't care how you live. I don't care what jurisdiction you in. These are the things that you have to do, right? And what we just read in Mark chapter 7 tells us exactly what we have to do to enter into the kingdom. So you always have to remember that the law and Yahushua are two separate things, right? The promises of the law are not the promises of Yahushua. If you read all the law from Genesis all the way to Deuteronomy, you will never once hear Yah say, if you do this, you'll enter into the kingdom. Right? If you obey everything that Moses commanded you, you will enter into the kingdom. Not once will you see that, right? However, when Yahushua came, he said, listen, repent. And he told us, these are the things that defile you. And he told you, keep these commandments and you will enter into the kingdom. So it's a different promise that we're dealing with, a better promise even that we're dealing with when we talk about what Yahushua has. So if you do what Yahushua say, you'll enter into the kingdom. You do what Moses say, you might live long on the land, but your butt gonna die eventually. If you do what they both say, then not only will you enter into the kingdom, but you'll be great in the kingdom. Right? And that's what we all should seek. This is Matthew chapter 19. What verse?
Verse
You there?
23.
Oh, this is verse 23. It's Matthew chapter 19, verse 23. Watch what the book says.
Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, who then can be saved? But Yahushua beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have?
He said, look, Peter said, look, but we you know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand what's really being asked here. Yahushua is like, listen, it may seem impossible, but anything is possible with the Most High God. So Peter came up and he took his opportunity. He's like, well, listen, I didn't left it all behind for you. You know what I'm saying? Like what you just told that rich man to do and he wasn't willing to do it. I left everything behind for you. So what's up? Watch what Yahushua say.
Then answered Peter, and Yahushua said unto him, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that has forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that were first shall be last, and many in the last shall be first.
All right. We got another question in the chat. The question say, you know what I'm saying, there are other commandments, right? Like don't put don't put any God before the Most High God. And that one wasn't mentioned by Yahushua. So the question is that one also done away with, right? So or not done away with, but is that one not required?
I think Yahushua said in another place, you shall love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your might.
Yeah, let's grab it. It's Matthew chapter 22. It's Matthew chapter 22, verse 36.
Master, which is the great commandment in the law? And Yahushua said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Right? So the answer to that would be Most High God has to be the only God that we see. The only way to love the Most High God with all our heart and all our soul would be for him to be the only God. If you put a God before him, then there's no way that you love him with all. Right? So yes, that one is absolutely required for us to get into the kingdom, right? We would not be able to put another God before the Most High God in order for us to get into the grab. Let's go. Where did we finish out 19? Or we still got more in 19?
Yeah, we finished it.
Let's do 20. We got another question. It says, so even Judas get to sit, because you know what I'm saying, we kind of know what's gonna happen. We got 12 disciples, one of them is Judas, right? And so we kind of know what's gonna happen with Judas, right? Everybody kind of know what happened with Judas. So the question in the chat is like, even Judas, right? Is Judas even the one that you know what I'm saying, get to sit and have a throne, the 12, because you know, Most High God or Yahushua just told them, you're gonna have 12 thrones. Y'all gonna sit in 12 thrones and y'all gonna judge all of Israel. So it's like Judas get a throne too to judge Israel. So no, not Judas. We're gonna read it as we get through, but you're gonna see that Judas it doesn't end up being an apostle, right? He doesn't end up keeping this role as an apostle. So in Acts, they commissioned to replace him as an apostle, but Paul ends up being that last apostle, right? Apostle that places Judas. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk through all that when we get to it in the book of Acts.
All right, where you want to
go? Matthew 20, verse 1.
For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And when he had went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, he said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again, he went out in the 6th hour and the 9th hour and did likewise. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing idle and said unto them, Why stand ye here all day idle? They said unto him, Because no man has hired us. And he said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that ye shall receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they had came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and the likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last who have worked but 1 hour, and they have made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden of the heat all day. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that is thine, and go thy way, and I will give unto thee unto this last, even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do so what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many is called, but few are chosen.
Right. So in that parable, what Yahushua is explaining is you got a man, right? And he finds some people that's doing some work, and he promised them specifically, I'm gonna give you $100. You do this work for me. Right? It's an 8-hour job though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you $100. I'll give you $100 for today. You just go out there, do this work for me. So they agree. They're like, you'll give me $100? Yeah, I'll knock that out right now. So they go, they get to doing their work, get to doing their thing, right? Then he see that they need some help. So, you know, he come back to another group and he say, hey, what y'all doing? But this later in the day. They working a full 8-hour day. Let's say 2 hours later, he finds somebody else like, hey, y'all busy today? Nah, man, we looking for some work. I'll tell you what, go work in the field. But he don't tell them he gonna give them $100. He just say, I'm gonna give you whatever's right. They looking like they don't even know how much they gonna get paid. They look like, for sure, you gonna pay us what's right though, right? All right, for sure. I'm gonna go and let me go to work. So they start working. They start getting to it. And maybe 2 hours later, now it's about noon. He go to another group. He like, what y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing nothing. All right, well, you know what I'm saying? Come work for me. I'll pay you what's right. They end up doing it. He get another group. It's like 3 o'clock. I'll pay you what's right, right? They do it. Then at the end, he give everybody the same amount. So the ones that's been working all day is looking like they agreed to $100 though, right? They looking like, how they get the same $100 that I got? I've been out here all day, right? And what the Most High God did, he looked at it. He is looking like, you know what I'm saying? In the parable, at least the master in the parable was looking like, listen, you agreed to $100 and I gave you exactly what we agreed to. I paid you appropriately. And I decided to give them people more money. I gave them the same amount. But what that got to do with your $100 that you agreed to, right? And that's how it's going to be in the kingdom, right? Some of us is sitting here right now and we going to be stressing out, suffering, going back and forth, going to battle with our family and our friends and going through all this, losing a job over like, no, I refuse to work on the Sabbath, right? We're going to get our butt fired, sit here broke for a couple months, all for the sake of the Most High God. And this whole time we've been trying to argue and fight with our family and our friends and these people on our jobs and tell them you should be obeying Yahushua, you should read the Bible, this, that, and other, and they ain't listening to us. And then one day, you know what I'm saying, the prophets is going to pop up and they're going to be like, hey, did y'all know y'all was the Israelites? Yeah, you from the tribe of Judah. You from the tribe of Issachar. You from the tribe of Asher. Or you over there, you Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? Just going to start telling us about our whole lineage. And we're going to be sitting there. And guess what? That same person that we used to argue with and be like, man, you should really read the Bible. I ain't read no Bible. I'm still out here taking shots in the club, right? They been going crazy, right? That same person going to be like, I'm from Asher. And he gonna serve the Most High God. He just got there, but he gonna serve the Most High God way harder than you. And the Most High God gonna look at him and be like, man, I'm pleased with that boy. And you gonna be sitting there like, everything I suffered through this whole time, and he get to walk in before me? He didn't even mess with you a year ago, right? And we gonna start wanting to hate. But this is what it is. We all agreed to the same deal. If you obey, you get into the kingdom. Don't let nothing else get in your way. It don't matter how much a person was against God and they changed. That got to be in your mind. That got to be glory to the Most High God. Man, I'm happy they came around. It don't matter what order. He's telling you the first, you think you first, but your butt going to end up being last. And the last is going to end up being first. Right? Just keep that in your mind, because a lot of people don't understand what he mean when he say that. What he's telling you is it's not going to happen in the order that you think it's going to happen in. Things is not, you not going to be ranked in the order that you think. I've been suffering for God a long time. This, that, another. It ain't going to play out the way you think it is in your brain. You got to get that stuff out of your brain and just do what you're supposed to do and remember what you're doing it for. If you're doing it to enter into the kingdom, if you're doing it to store up treasures in heaven for yourself, then keep that in mind. Don't worry about what's going on with nobody else. Right? Do what you need to do. It's some times that might come in our times. It might come in our kids' time. It might come later. You know what I'm saying? But there's some times coming up where some wild stuff going to happen and we going to see it. We're going to be like, what? You let him in? You know what I'm saying? Like, he get to go to the wilderness? He was just talking bad about you guys. You know what I'm saying? That boy going to be out there serving for the Most High God, though. Right? Keep going. Watch this. This is Matthew chapter 20, verse what? You on mute?
Verse 17. And Yahushua going up to Jerusalem took the 12 disciples apart in the way and said unto them, behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man shall be betrayed unto the chief priests and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the Gentiles to mock and to scourge and crucify him, and the third day he shall rise again. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? And she said unto him, grant that these two my sons may sit, the one on the right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized into the baptism which I am baptized with? And they say unto him, we are able. And he said unto them, ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. but to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give. But it shall be
right.
given
So he's telling them, he look like, I know y'all think y'all know what y'all asking for, because Yahushua knows what it takes. He knows how. One thing that I say a lot when I'm talking to people and I give them advice, right? Everything be choices. Everything is choices. It's just like, and you never gonna have it all with your choice. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is a price. Like it's like planting a seed, right? It's like you got a seed and you know you want this seed. Like it's a seed. There's no way to skip past it being a seed. And you want this seed to become what? A tomato? You know what I'm saying? You want this seed to become a tomato, right? There's no way to do it other than you gotta bury the seed, you gotta let it go, and you gotta water it, and you gotta wait to the appropriate season, and you gonna have to clip it and make sure, you know what I'm saying, you keep the bugs away from it. Like it's going to be, you gotta give up something every single time. No matter what you do, you gotta give up something. Everything comes that way. Like me, when I grill, right? There's always going to be ashes that come as a result of my fire, right? I'm gonna turn the fire on and we got coals and they gonna burn up in the ashes. So after I'm done and we eat good food, I'm gonna have residue, nasty residue on my grill, and I'm gonna have ashes that I gotta take out and I gotta dump the next day. That's the unpretty part, right? The food, oh yeah, we all love the food, but the unpretty part is I'll be covered in ash the next day when I take it out and I gotta dump it. And all those ashes came as a product of making this good food, right? And so that's just how everything works. You gotta give up something to get something. You know what I'm saying? You're never gonna be able to just make a decision and it's like that's perfect. You didn't have to lose anything. Everything comes at a cost. You know what I'm saying? So what was I saying? What did we just read? What was I talking about? Cost.
He said to give my right and my left hand is not mine to
There we
give.
go. So Yahushua understands that. They're asking like, yo, the moms is asking, can my son sit at your right and your, I know they rock with you. I know you rock with them. They always with you. They like your favorites. So look, just let my sons, we all believe in you. We believe you the king. Let my sons that you rock with sit at your right hand and your left hand or at the kingdom. Right? And in her mind, that makes sense. What she doesn't know is there's a cost. You gotta pay for that. You gotta lose something to get that spot, right? So Yahushua know what he willing to lose. He willing to not sin ever, right? And still give up his life as if he did sin. He's willing to do that. That means he got to spend his entire life telling himself no. While everybody else having fun, where everybody else say, "Oh, I made a mistake. Ah, sorry," and I repented from that. He don't have that luxury. He has to say, "I can't mess up once. I can't indulge once. I can't do none of the stuff that these other people do. I got to deny myself my entire life just to get to the end." And people be looking like, "Dang, man, you got it good. Like, dang, your life just worked out." That's how they looking at Yahushua. Like, dang, things just work out for you. You doing all these miracles and all that. It's like, no. I had to tell myself no a lot of times to get to this position. Right? And so it comes at a cost. So when you ask for that, he looking like, listen, you don't understand what you asking for. Because what you really asking for is you saying that you got to die. You got to die a gruesome death that you really don't deserve. Or if you want to get in that spot. And so he asked him, are you willing to be baptized in the baptism that I'm going to be baptized in? And he tell him, yeah, no, you is going to be baptized in my baptized. But listen, it's not my position to put you at the right hand or the left. In other words, it might be some other people throughout history that earned that spot. You know what I'm saying? It might be some men of God throughout history that already earned the spot at the right hand and the left. Maybe it's Moses and Elijah. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who actually got that spot, but it could be, you know what I'm saying? It could be one of the prophets that came beforehand. All right, keep going. Let's see.
And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brothers. But Yahushua called unto them and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. For whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many. And as they departed from Jericho, a great multitude followed him. And behold,
A great multitude did what?
followed him.
You know what that make them? Followers of Christ. Or in other words, Christians. Keep going.
And behold, two blind men sitting by the wayside, when they heard that Yahushua passed by, cried out, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou son of David. And the multitude rebuked them, because they should hold their peace. But they cried more, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou son of David. And Yahushua stood still and called them and said, What will ye that I shall do unto you? And they said unto him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. So Yahushua had compassion on them and touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him.
Keep going.
That's it.
That's the end of the chapter?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what we'll do, we'll pick up. I want to get back to Luke. So we'll pick up at Luke 19 next week. Right? We'll grab Luke 19. Then after we get to Luke, we're gonna take it back to John. We're gonna go to John 12. Right? So this is the traveling that we do after after Lazarus was risen from the dead. Yahushua went back to Galilee, then back to Judah. So now he's on his way back to Judah. Now he's about to die, right? You already know. You saw that he just said it in chapter 19. Was it chapter 19 or chapter 20? He is like, you know what I'm saying? I think it was chapter 20. He said, Matthew chapter 20, you know what I'm saying? Like the Pharisees, or he didn't say the Pharisees. He said the priests and the scribes have already made an agreement to set me up. And the Son of Man gonna be risen again in 3 days. He gave him the whole game plan real quick. You know what I'm saying? We didn't stop and highlight it, but he gave him the whole game plan real quick. So Yahushua know this is about to happen. So when last week when we read, he was in Judah, right, with Lazarus, and then he left Judah, went to Galilee. Then at the beginning of this week, he came back down, going back into Judah. This is the route that he's going on for the end of his life. It's the last time he coming to Judah. He won't leave again alive. You know what I'm saying? Well, technically he do leave again alive, but you know what I'm saying? He won't leave again before he die. You know what I'm saying? So he's going back into Judah now. So what's going to happen next week, and well, we might get to it next week, but we're going to read Luke 19, then we're going to go into John 12. And John 12, that's where we're going to start to see that, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He about a week out of Passover at that point. Die on Passover, so it's about 5 days, 6 days, I think, before Passover is where John start. We'll start to look at that. We'll start to put everything together, and you know what I'm saying we're getting close to the end of the gospel with this. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions in the chat? I don't think I missed any. I think that's all. Send in any questions if y'all have any. Other than that,